The Jets head on down to the 305 to try and end a three-game losing streak against the Dolphins. And there's enough storyline surrounding this game that's keeping people interested. So let's talk Fins versus Jets with David Furones, Dolphins beat writer for the Sun Sentinel. David, what's going on, my man? How you feeling today? Obviously a lot warmer than we are up here.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, we just got a cold front where for us in December, it gets down to like in the 60s at night. So then back into the 70s during the day when the sun comes out. So I'm sorry to bring that to your attention.
My man said cold front with the 60s. Yeah, I remember when 2008 when I was with the Dolphins. My first game with the Dolphins was Dolphins-Jets. And but I also remember playoffs in January where it's just 70 degrees outside in January. You absolutely got to love it. I guess let's get into this game now, man, because I just want to get your thoughts. Are you and other Dolphins beat reporters surprised that it's Week 14 and the Jets are 3-9? I guess what does the Miami beat think about the Jets?
I'll tell you what, I personally thought both of these matchups, when I saw the schedule come out, both of them were late in the year, one in December and one for the regular season finale. I thought both of them would just have so many playoff implications to go with them. So I've been disappointed to see how the season has played out for both these teams, just that it's not as meaningful of a game. Really, at this point, the Jets already out of it at 3-9 and the Dolphins kind of holding on for dear life. They're practically in a win-out scenario to truly put themselves into the playoff picture. So, it's disappointing that this far out for these teams that had such aspirations for this season, postseason aspirations, that it hasn't developed. And for the Dolphins, a lot of it had to do with Tua's concussion that put him out 4 games. The Dolphins went 1-3 in that stretch, trying to get back into the mix after that. But still coming off a loss to Green Bay, which sort of stunted their hopes a little bit, and now they're trying to get back on track.
Yeah, we kind of feel your pain up here, man. A lot of expectations going into the season with Gang Green, and they haven't lived up to it, as you said. When you watch Jets games and you watch how Aaron Rodgers and the offense has looked throughout the season, do you feel like he and this offense can win this game?
You know, it's interesting. The last memory we have, because the last Dolphins-Jets game was so long ago, because it happens late in the year this year, was that 30-0 shutout win that the Dolphins defense had against the Jets. Now, very different Jets team at this point. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers wasn't available for New York last year, and we saw Jalen Ramsey in that game go ahead and shadow Garrett Wilson. Now the Jets also made the midseason acquisition of Davante Adams, so another weapon for the Jets that the Dolphins will have to worry about. Also different coordinators for the Dolphins. They had Vic Fangio back then, who actually was unwilling for most of the season to have Jalen Ramsey shadow receivers, and that was kind of the lone exception where that played out that way. So I do wonder how they'll defend it with Anthony Weaver now this year. He's been more willing to use Ramsey as that ultimate chess piece, as he says, having him shadow a receiver, maybe bring him on the blitz, using him in different ways. So that's kind of one of the keys that I'm looking to in terms of how the Dolphins would manage the Jets offense, which, as far as can they keep themselves in this game? Sure, I would pick the Dolphins, but I wouldn't be surprised in a divisional game if Aaron Rodgers comes in and is able to put up some numbers against this team.
So you think Jalen Ramsey shadows Garrett Wilson over Davante Adams?
Yeah, so I mean, it worked last year. Now, I just wonder now, Kendall Fuller is also in the mix there as far as can he return, can he clear concussion protocol in time and be that second corner? Because then if he's out, then it's just sort of you go down the depth chart a little bit with having to have Kader Kohu play an elevated role. Maybe Storm Duck is that third cornerback in the nickel. So I think it depends on who's available for the Dolphins. And then, but I would think maybe Ramsey first and foremost on Wilson. But now that they have those two receivers that you have to worry about, maybe they don't go that route and have him shadow Garrett.
Do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to be the starter in Week 18 when y'all come on up to Jersey?
Yeah, that's a big question, right? I I wouldn't know myself, but when I envision it, there's so much up in the air. But I mean, I can see it. I guess just does he really want to, how does he want to go out and finish this season? And if it's a scenario where they're playing spoiler on the Dolphins, if the Dolphins still have a scenario where they're still alive that week, then why not? And especially if it's a cold weather game over there, we know the Dolphins don't fare well in those elements. We just saw that they didn't do too well in Green Bay in 20-degree weather. They'll have another game at Cleveland before that one to really test them in those elements. So I would wonder, Aaron Rodgers played in it so long in Green Bay, so I feel like he's such a gamer that he would, but it would make the game better if he is out there for sure.
So a lot of eyes are going to be on both franchises and what they're going to do with their quarterbacks. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers turned 41, Tua with the concussions. Do you think that both teams are going to be in the market for a new franchise quarterback this upcoming offseason?
Yeah, Jets, I could see it based on Aaron Rodgers' age, but Dolphins, they're committed to Tua Tagovailoa. They gave him the contract extension this past offseason, so they're rolling with him. Obviously, there are always going to be health concerns with Tua. He just suffered another concussion earlier this season. He has to protect himself and make sure he stays out of harm's way. He actually admitted sort of some guilt this week and feeling like the way he rammed his head into DeMar Hamlin to suffer that concussion in week 2, that it led to the Dolphins' downfall earlier this season and how they were 1-3 in those 4 games he missed, started 2-6 before now picking it back up with his return. So I think he's got to understand that for the Dolphins, the bigger thing is backup quarterback, because if Tua's your guy and hey, he's injury prone, he's suffered these concussions, he's missed games in his career, then you need to solidify a strong backup quarterback who can run this system, a veteran player who can step right in whenever Tua does inevitably possibly miss time, then it doesn't derail the season if you do have that guy. So I think that would be one of the focal points for the Dolphins going forward.
For QB2, 1-800 call Jameis. I would love to see Jameis Winston down with the Miami Dolphins. All right, man, let's
return to Florida, right? From his college days, from Tampa, bring him back to Florida.
There we go. All right, so let's get into this game, man. As you mentioned, Sunday's kind of a must-win for the Fins, for them to stay in striking distance for a wild-card spot to sneak into the playoffs. You kind of mentioned how you kind of see it going on the defensive side of things, but overall, how do you see this game going? How do the Fins walk away with the win?
Yeah, I think Tua has been on a roll. He's been prolific since he's come back and gotten into a rhythm. I do want to see the Dolphins' run game get going more. They had a 4-game stretch where they had all 149 rushing yards or more, and then they haven't hit 100 in the 4 games since. So sort of aligns with now Tua coming back and how they have been more, or they have taken away from the commitment to the run game, have leaned more on him. So I think they'll let him get going. I would like to see the Dolphins find some more balance between run and pass. But ultimately, I do see this going the Dolphins' way. 30-20 is the prediction I made in the South Florida Sun Sentinel.
Dang, you got them boys running up the score with 30 on the board. Hey. Cheetah, Cheetah's going to want his balls. Waddle's going to want to be involved, because those guys are feeling like they're making up for missed time with Tua being out. Those guys' stats just went completely down. David, man, thank you for jumping on with us really quick. Shout out your platform. Tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm writing for the South Florida Sun Sentinel, and you can follow me on Twitter or X at David Furones, Furones, with an underscore at the end.
All right, man. Enjoy your 60-degree cold front. I hope you freeze to death, man. 60 degrees. Hey, thanks, man.
I was just in Green Bay. Where it was 20, so give me a little credit.
I'll take it. Thanks, man.